Regarding breathing, we're often hearing the words functional breathing and dysfunctional breathing. And what does it mean? I think the easiest way to think about breathing, especially breathing dysfunction, is ask, how do you breathe when you get into a difficult situation? Does your breathing get faster or slower? Is it high, upper chest, or is it low? Are you breathing harder or lighter? Are you breathing through the mouth, through the nose? Is your breathing an effort, or is your breathing effortless? And I think you'll know that when we get stressed, our breathing gets faster, upper chest, harder, so often through the mouth. And we can also feel that sensation of air hunger. Our heart rate is increasing. We're going into a fight or flight response. Those same traits of how we breathe when we are in a stressful situation are similar to how we breathe when we have dysfunctional breathing. So the real question to ask is, if a stressful situation changes your breathing patterns, what happens when your breathing patterns are dysfunctional, and how will that feed back into your body's reaction to a stressful situation? So improving your underlying breathing is very, very important. And this is where functional breathing is coming in. And of course, the easiest way to think about this is to think about change your breathing patterns so that it's the opposite to how you breathe when you're stressed. Instead of breathing faster, we want to slow down the respiratory rate. Instead of breathing high, we want to breathe low with good recruitment of the diaphragm. Instead of breathing hard, we want to be breathing light. What do I mean by hard breathing? It's the volume of air that you take in during each breath. And instead of breathing mouth, we want to be breathing through the nose. And instead of having effortful breathing, we want to have effortless breathing. So when researchers look at breathing, they look at breathing from a number of different dimensions. Breathing is complex, it is multidimensional, it's simple at the same time. And those three dimensions are the biochemical dimension, which is focusing on the gas carbon dioxide in the blood. And the pressure of carbon dioxide in the blood is determined by the pressure of carbon dioxide in the lungs. And the pressure of carbon dioxide in your lungs is determined by the volume of air that you breathe. And when I talk about volume, I'm not just talking about the respiratory rate, but I'm talking about the respiratory rate multiplied by the tidal volume to give it your minute volume. And if you breathe too much air, just as if we eat too much food, if we drink too much water, breathing too much air is not good either. And breathing too much air will get rid of too much carbon dioxide from the blood through the lungs. And it's the loss of carbon dioxide that will cause our blood vessels to constrict, and hemoglobin, which is a protein in the red blood cells that carries oxygen, hemoglobin will hold on to oxygen more readily. So from a biochemical dimension, if you breathe too much air, it results in less oxygen being delivered throughout your body. The second dimension of breathing is, of course, the biomechanical dimension, and many people hone in on the biomechanical dimension. And that's whether you're breathing low with good recruitment of the diaphragm or breathing high. Of course, we want to be using our main and most important breathing muscle, which is the diaphragm. But if, for example, we are chronic mouth breathers, or people who have experienced high stress levels or chronic stress, or even people with asthma, there can be many factors that feed into upper chest breathing. But also what can feed into upper chest breathing is that sensation that you're not getting enough air, because when you feel that your breathing is uncomfortable, and what I mean by this is you feel, I suppose the most common experience or the most common symptom that people with dysfunctional breathing have, they'll tell you is, I just feel I can't take a satisfying breath. So they feel that their breathing is a challenge. And very often when you feel that your breathing is a challenge, you feel air hunger. But if you feel air hunger, you'll change your breathing patterns, even though you're not thinking about it. But if you have a feeling of air hunger or a feeling of suffocation, it can tend to drive your breathing to the upper chest and breathe faster. So now when your breathing is poor from a biochemical dimension, it will also impact your breathing from a biomechanical dimension. The third dimension of breathing then is the psychophysiological. That's the connection of the body up to the brain and vice versa. So if researchers look at breathing from three different dimensions, well then, we as breathing instructors, we need to be training breathing from three different dimensions.